Uh, 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 uh. Welcome, one and all. Um, Sorry we're starting a bit late today. A lot late. I think I'm actually supposed to have been live at like 2, something like that. I was on live. I was on TikTok live, but I wasn't on my TikTok live thing. Um, yeah, my bad, chat. Let me crank up that volume a little bit. Oy, oy, oy. What is on the agenda for today? The agenda for today, I just had a conversation with one of my goats, Harper O'Connor, my king. He is he's starting Vanguard Studios, I guess. And that's his little group of like network of interconnected creators and things working together to be able to develop a robust media ecosystem, um, which is awesome. Love to see it. I think I'm gonna turn this one down by a lot. It never goes all the way down, which I like. I like having stream music in the background. Keeps me calm, keeps me chill. I have food. I don't know if I wait. Where'd it go? Usually I have tea. Today I have apple juice. Can't even see anything because I was supposed to eat my food with it. I think I forgot it. Hold on. Because I have also caffeine as well that'll be helpful, because I was realizing when I was also speaking with Harper O'Connor that I was fucked in the head in terms of like I couldn't really get any kind of points out because the whatever I tried to say, it was wrong in terms of the way that I said it. I couldn't get the thoughts that I wanted to say out. Which was because I was really tired. So I'm looking for a caffeine pill that I had right now. You can get them from like freaking 7-Eleven, something like that. I wouldn't recommend it because it's a lot of caffeine. Even just one is crazy. Like 300 milligrams. It might Loki also fuck me up because ADHD and whatnot, but tea's been really helpful, and I don't have time to brew tea, and I already have a whole thing of apple juice. We're also going to be reading some trip reports. I think I'm just going to go to r/trip reports and start like trying to parse through what's going on there. Also, but in addition to that, we're also going to be reading some news and reacting to the current events, the ongoing events that continue to affect our lives in ways that we simply sometimes refuse to recognize, but also just ways that we see every day as well. Like we can't not see it because we're so interconnected. And I was having this conversation earlier with my friend that the world, right? If you grew up in a time whenever we all had devices, it doesn't feel like that. You couldn't necessarily imagine a world in which there isn't such hyperconnectivity. You couldn't really imagine a world in which instead of just like reading the newspaper to find out what's going on in the world, you're going out and whatever's happening in the world follows you. You don't have to actively go out and search for it. It's like the reality that we are affected by is much more visible to us now, but the strings behind it are still obscured in a way that we can't necessarily put our finger on what exactly the issue is. And I think that's why a lot of people have trouble looking at certain like issues about the world and understanding them in the ways that like a leftist might have, because they see that there is an issue, um and they've been told it's one thing, and it's hard to move away from what you've been told, as well as when someone tells you something that's like new and about like this is how you like change your entire world, and this is how you fix it. Either people like see it and become like fanatic, or they're gonna be like, I'm really skeptical of this is like there are no easy answers, you know what I mean? And there are no easy answers easily turns into there is no answer, unfortunately. I think the answer is as easy as they come as well. It's love. At the end of the day, I think that's what we're going to see definitely within the circle of trip reports, is that at the end of it all, there was and is love, right? And what does that mean, right? I was also, while I was on TikTok live earlier today, there was a person, forget her name, um, started with an S. Someone called her Sabrina. It was not that. It was I don't know. It was a unique name. It was a cool name. I liked it. But she was talking about how the relationships between ideas and even like inanimate concepts, um and the ways that they manifest resembles love, to her specifically, and everyone else is like, yo, you're fucking crazy, yo, get this guy out, yo, are you trolling? Because what they when they hear when they hear love is like couples, is like relationships, is all that. And when you understand love, what you're understanding love to be, what you need to understand love to be, is the connections and relations between particulates, right? Or like collections of particulate systems, between like systems and organs like humans and whatnot, right? But also with systems like, let's say, a, I don't know. Right. Let's say a like a group of people to another group of people, right? These are both systems, right? Individuals versus like groups, and that, right? And in that, their connection between both like other people is the social reality, the social glue, the thing that connects things together socially, is love. Is the connectivity between systems, right? And we see that as experienced in relationships, as experienced in all these things. I think you can step out a bit and say um that love exists at a much more fundamental level, that we have a tendency towards love, and saying that we have a tendency towards love and we have a tendency towards unity or connectivity, is not very different. I would argue they're almost one and the same. Netanyahu's government crushes. Oh, Dior. Interesting. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. No, no. Let's get into some news. Netanyahu government shuts down Israel's army radio stations. What? Why? Israel's cabinet voted on Monday to shut down a popular national radio station, in a series of measures by Prime Minister Netanyahu's right-wing coalition. His critics see it as a blow to democracy. Hmm. What? Also, why is my camera like that? Yo, what? What is this? Let me fix that. Don't be afraid of the dead space. That's why I have music. I was trying to open this one, the CNN. Okay, there we go. Just move this. Whatever. Boom. Uh-oh, it could be us, but there's no longer a page here? Yo, what? I agree. Let me just close that out then. I guess it's just always gonna open in this new one. Close. Here we go. Yo, what? It refuses to open in a tab that's not new. Well, I guess that's, like, good. Because it shouldn't open... I don't know if it should have opened immediately up here. Because it opened a tab that was new down there. Israeli government approves 5-year controversial closure of Army radio after 75 years. The Army radio is in, like... Is the Army radio for Israel, like, the, Like... Is that like public transparency? Is that what he's like getting rid of? The ability for like the army to like broadcast what it's doing? The Israeli government has approved the closure of the country's army radio after 75 years of broadcast in a move that shutters one of Israel's oldest media institutions at a time of mounting concerns over press freedoms. Under the proposal introduced by Defense Minister Israel Katz, station known as Gavil Tazal will cease operations on March 1st. The resolution passed unanimously Monday in the weekly cabinet meeting, despite oppositions from General Evan. She warned in an official memorandum that the decisions lacked necessary factual and professional foundation and advancing that it violated the law. Let me just kind of, because I know this can be read out loud.
The resolution passed unanimously Monday in the weekly cabinet meeting, despite opposition from Attorney General Gali Baharav-Mira. She warned in an official memorandum that the decision lacked the necessary factual and professional foundation and that advancing it violated the law. The decision forms part of a broader move to undermine public broadcasting in Israel and to restrict freedom of expression, Baharav-Mira, who is not a cabinet member, said in a statement. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the decision, saying a military station broadcasting under the army's authority exists in North Korea and perhaps a few other countries, and we certainly don't want to be counted among them. Related article. Entering election year, Netanyahu's government targets Israel's free press. The Israel Press Council, the Israeli Journalists Union, and other civil society groups have said they will challenge the decision in the Supreme Court. Katz announced his intention to close Army radio last month amid a broader government push to consolidate control over the media sphere. The push includes a dramatic overhaul of broadcast regulations that would give the government sweeping authority to fine and sanction news outlets. The military-run broadcaster is legally a unit of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, overseen by the Chief of Staff. But it has a vibrant news department operated by both soldiers and civilian journalists who host some of the country's most popular political talk shows. Some of the journalists are regularly critical of politicians and the military. Katz is not the first defense minister to dislike the tone of Army radios. Journalists and others had previously floated the idea of closing or restructuring it, but he is the first to take action, convening what critics have called a hand-picked committee of figures politically aligned with the government who recommended closing the station down or converting it to a different model without substantial news and political content. Katz said in a statement that a reality in which a radio station, intended for all citizens of the state, is operated by the army is an anomaly that does not exist in democratic countries.
that's not a real defense of what you're doing. It's so blatantly transparent. They I don't know if the transparency in terms of their corruption and in terms of their like inability to try and at least seem like they're doing good um is on the like the face that we can see their actions every time we open any sort of device, but also is it also just like they're being really stupid with it in that they're saying, reality the radio station meant for the people is controlled by the army. Huh. I guess we got to make it more democratic, I guess. You're not going to do that. No one not a single person believes you're actually going to try and make it more democratic. Could be wrong though.
This
I
anomaly
doubt
causes
when it comes to
substantial
Israel, usually
difficulty for
not.
the IDF stemming from the involuntary involvement of the IDF in political discourse. The station's engagement in political content harms the Israel Defense Forces, its soldiers, and its unity. Opposition leader Yair Lapid condemned the decision, calling it part of the government's campaign to abolish freedom of speech in Israel during an election year. They failed to control reality, so they tried to control consciousness. Wherever there's a truth inconvenient to the government, they act
They
to
try to eliminate it.
The government doesn't know how to deal with the cost of living, the neglect of security, so it shuts down the media, he said. Al Jazeera law extended. In another controversial move Monday, the Knesset approved legislation on national security grounds that extends the government's authority to shut down foreign media outlets operating in Israel. 22 Knesset members supported the bill while 10 opposed it. The bill, commonly referred to as the Al Jazeera law, empowers the communications minister, with the prime minister's approval, to close foreign media outlets' operations if their content is determined to pose a concrete threat to national security. The legislation extends powers previously established as a temporary measure in April 2024 during the Gaza war, when the government moved to close down Al Jazeera's operations in Israel, citing what Israeli officials described as hostile and biased coverage of the conflict in the Gaza Strip, support for Hamas, and facilitation of terrorism. The Qatari-based network called the closure of his office as a criminal act, while critics described the move as a dark day for democracy. The newly passed legislation expands those powers through the end of 2027 and applies even when Israel is not under a state of emergency or war.
What?
An earlier version of the bill eliminated the requirement
for
judicial oversight but was revised in recent weeks, meaning any decision to close a foreign media outlet remains subject to judicial supervision.
Yeah. When it comes to Israel acting like a fascist state, you have to remember that this country is not unique in its violence. This this government is not unique in its position. Hold on, let me. There's adjusting the lights. This government is not unique in its position. This government is not unique in its evil. This government is not unique in its like appropriation, even of like religious values, in order to promote some like economic and even not even just economic, because like they're losing money on the genocide. Promote some ideological fascistic realities. This freedom of speech move within the state of Israel is definitely some of the most interesting, because that's indicative of there being some resistance in terms of the people who speak and in terms of the people who listen to the public military radio, which is interesting to see in Israel specifically, because of what was it? I saw a statistic the other day. It was like half of all Israelis, just under half of all Israelis supported total annihilation of Gaza. Let me see. Uh, Israeli. Let me see. Israeli polling, right? Israel, not Israel Gaza pulling, Israeli Gaza pulling. I want to know what Israelis think. Um, JD Vance's Israel type road is fraying. That's also definitely like a thing that I've been seeing. These people have been like, "Oh, JD Vance is turning against Israel." Uh, no, no, he's not. Let's be real. John, wait, what the hell is his name? Jedediah? Name. Is his name just JD? James David? Ew. Why does he still go by Davey? Why does he still go by JD at the ripe old age of 41? Old man, bro. Going by teenage boy names. Armed gangs are vying to fill the vacuum left by Hamas in Israeli occupied Gaza. Yeah. Actually, let me check that one out. I think that one's also definitely an interesting thing to. Hi. I'm one of your intramutes, and I want to glad to see you on more than one platform. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for coming in. Now today we're looking at some just like regular news, trying to understand the political situation that we're in addition to like the spiritual situation that we find ourselves in. In which case, I'm gonna look at some trip reports and try and describe the the elements of spirituality that have like imprinted themselves onto like psychedelic experiences and try to use those to analyze our current moment because it's fun. That's just what I like to do. If that sounds interesting to you, or if you know anybody who's gonna be interested in that, come on in. Also, additionally, I feel like I should be doing. I need to make a point to do this. Like first, I need to like make structured lives more. In that, what I wanted to also do was also be able to promote my friends Abdullah, Kareem, and Anas on the link tree. I think Abdullah's link got messed up. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like his thing got shut down. Yeah, fundraiser not found. Let me check. Kareem's still up, right? This is the chuffed. Yeah, this is my friend Kareem. He's studying to be a doctor in Palestine. Um, he's the one experiencing the other half of this. I want to learn so much more about it and how it affects our current environment and society. Awesome. You're in the right spot then. Um Anasa Hub. I'm pretty sure his chuff is still working. I'm gonna fix that link whenever it comes to it. But Abdullah should maybe I'll put his Instagram there for now or something until he gets a new GoFundMe link. Armed gangs are vying to fill the vacuum left by Hamas in Israeli occupied Gaza. I have not necessarily been paying attention to the Israel-Palestine conflict as much apart from obviously like what my friends have been like describing to me. I didn't realize that Hamas has been leaving a vacuum to be filled. When is this from the thing that Trump was up to? Like is this a part of Trump's like Gaza plan? Learn so much more about it. All right. We'll read a couple paragraphs at a time.
When Sheikh Mohammed Abu Mustafa stepped out of his mosque in southern Gaza after leading afternoon prayers in early
Counterterrorism
November,
strike force.
a gunman on a motorcycle pulled up and shot him dead. It was a targeted assassination that an Islamist militant group said was carried out by local Israeli-backed militia. A Hamas-linked group later claimed that the slain imam was a jihadist who had concealed Israeli hostages during the Gaza war and accused the hitman of belonging to a new Israeli-supported militia led by Hussam al-Astal, a former prisoner in Hamas-ruled Gaza who is now openly working to topple the militant group that has ruled the territory with an iron fist for nearly 2 decades. In a
Oh my
phone
god.
interview with CNN, Al-Astal denied that his men assassinated Sheikh Abu Mustafa but said he welcomed the death of any Hamas member.
Wow. Okay. So, not just armed gangs, not just like people like fighting for like the to fulfill the mantle of the armed resistance that Hamas has been like trying to accomplish. This is Israeli gangs in addition to the IDF who are held even less accountable than the IDF, who is not even like there's a reason death to the IDF isn't a like a controversial statement in that not bringing death to individuals but bringing death to the collective organization that is the IDF, because they record their war crimes constantly, and I don't know if this would be worse or any different or like just remain similar. Is this just in the parts of Gaza that are um like the yellow line? Yeah, is that where all of the things are? The armed gangs are. Let me just read actually. I keep getting notifications. Obscure group
His obscure group, the self-styled Counterterrorism Strike Force, has taken control of a village in the Israeli-occupied part of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. From there, it carries out raids against Hamas while trying to grow its small domestic following. As the dust begins to settle after the brutal 2-year war, Gaza has been split in two. Hamas is reconsolidating its control in the western half of the enclave that Israel withdrew from, and remains the dominant force where the vast majority of Gaza's population lives, east of the so-called Yellow Line, an Israeli military boundary. However, relatively few civilians remain. It is there, in the Israel-controlled territory, that small armed groups are trying to assert their dominance and carve out influence.
Desde 2000 Hamas reconsolidating in the western half. Yeah, they've been recognizing their. Oh wow, you can actually see the map now. Wait, I couldn't see it before, barely. I think it's just my screen, and the way that it reflects because I have my ring light over here. That's why I'm washed the hell out. I'm not this light. Usually I'm darker. Yeah. So yeah, I was right. It is like behind this yellow line where the IDF is like retreating to. That the armed groups are trying to establish. They're trying to liberate Gaza. Oh, I'm gonna. Oh,
Under
ooh.
Israel's close watch,
Ooh.
at least 5 factions are now operating within the Yellow Line. What began as scattered, opportunistic gangs exploiting the chaos of the conflict has coalesced into a coordinated network of armed militias that are openly positioning themselves for a post-war role in Gaza should Hamas be removed from power. There is coordination between our groups. We have the same goals and the same ideology. We have the same aim, Al-Astal told CNN, referring to Hamas' defeat, armed with light weapons, a few dozen fighters, and a
And
handful
after
of
Hamas's
vehicles.
defeat, are you
The
guys just
militias
gonna
operate
infight
from
forever?
separate bases across Israeli-controlled areas of Gaza. On social media, their leaders regularly post propaganda videos showing masked men in makeshift black uniforms, clutching rifles, awkwardly chanting in unison and vowing to liberate Gaza from Hamas.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what we needed. More vigilante violence from people. Wow. Not just like because everybody and Israel has to like serve in the
Though
IDF.
small and
This is
lacking in skill and support to fully replace Hamas,
yo.
these militias have already plunged Gaza into more instability.
Using
Using
hit and run
hit-and-run
tactics.
attacks, they have tried to challenge Hamas as it has consolidated power in areas no longer controlled by Israel since the ceasefire. The militias have waged an insurgency within an insurgency, targeting Hamas at a critical moment in the process of establishing governance in post-war Gaza. Hamas has not sat idly by. Concerned about its status in the enclave, Hamas is now on a mission to hunt them down, while ordinary Palestinians grow increasingly anxious that the war-torn enclave could slide toward open civil conflict. Reports
Yeah.
of violence have been shared widely on social media, with one particularly gruesome video that was shared by Hamas-affiliated channels in October showing a group of masked fighters, some of whom are wearing green Hamas headband, killing 8 blindfolded people in a square in Gaza City. Hamas-affiliated groups said those executed were collaborating with Israel or were involved in security and criminal offenses, but it did not provide any evidence.
Okay. Ambitions to govern. Okay. Involved. I'm not. Wait. Recognized CNN has specific positions and obviously maybe this isn't the full picture, maybe it is the full picture, um but yeah, no, if if these are innocent people, no, that's not good. If they're not, then um it's like the IDF is and Israel's actions within the Gaza Strip has not pushed me to the point has pushed me to the point where I'm just like, it's understandable. Armed resistance is legal and understandable. Um but there's reality that you have to